know you're out there. I can feel you now. I know that you're afraid. You're afraid of us. You're afraid of change. I don't know the future. I didn't come here to tell you how this is going to end. I came here to tell you how it's going to begin. I'm going to hang up this phone, and then I'm going to show these people what you don't want them to see.
September 11th. Now here is a subject that has subconsciously divided humanity on so many levels. There is such a vast amount of information about this subject, some right, some wrong, many theories, and an endless array of speculation. But there is also a web of disinformation strategically designed to eradicate the credibility of all real evidence and to ridicule anyone who should question the official explanation of 9/11. So 19 suicidal Arabs from a highly sophisticated terrorist network of Muslim extremists known as Al-Qaeda, under the command of Osama bin Laden, simultaneously hijacked 4 commercial passenger jets in US airspace by using box cutters as weapons. They then flew 2 of the planes into the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center, causing the complete and total destruction of both towers plus one other 47-story building. They crashed another plane into a field in rural Pennsylvania, and then an hour and 45 minutes after the first hijacking, they smashed the last remaining commandeered airliner into the Pentagon. And the motive behind all of this was that they hated us for our freedom. So that's what happened. And if you have any further questions, then you must be a conspiracy nutjob who hates America. This has been a media-driven psychological warfare campaign unlike anything we have ever seen before, and it has also, in the most part, been a huge success. And as long as they can keep enough consistent disinformation flowing to discredit, confuse, and cast doubt upon all of the factual evidence that arises, they will continue to succeed with this campaign. This is because the majority of the general public simply can't be bothered wading through the endless sea of bullshit that they must endure to find the truth and educate themselves on a subject that they have no power to possibly change anyway. And besides that, if one is to start asking questions about 9/11, they risk instantly being thrown into that metaphorical pit of conspiracy kooks, tinfoil hat-wearing loonies, and anti-American homegrown terrorists. Therefore, it is much easier to just sidestep the whole 9/11 issue and to stay within the politically safe thought and speech zones of the media-portrayed majority or in crowd. But this mentality in itself is an extremely sad sign for humanity. Knowing the truth should be of much higher personal value than what we are witnessing, and the harder it gets to uncover the truth, the more determined we should become in finding that truth and spreading it. There is far too much corruption and blatant criminal activity going on within our current systems of political leadership, and for us to stand by and accept this type of behavior from those who are supposed to serve our best interests is not a fair benchmark to be setting for our future generations. We need to stand up and fight for what's righteous, expose these criminals, serve justice, and extinguish this blaze of corruption now, as it has already gotten way out of hand and we are guilty of allowing this to happen on our watch. We owe it not only to ourselves, but to our grandchildren and to their children, so that they will be able to look upon us for guidance just as we look upon our forefathers, and not have them look back in shame at the generation that failed them, that allowed corporate and government corruption to consume every last scrap of liberty and freedom that our own predecessors so honorably fought and died for. So the real anti-American terrorists here are those that do not question authority, who do not stand up to injustice, but instead turn a blind eye so they can carry on living in their comfortable little bubbles of illusion, because it's easier than actually dealing with the issues and facing the facts about 9/11, pursuing the endless list of unanswered questions and seeking justice for the grave implications that continue to haunt us. Well, it's time to man up, people, grow some nads, and look this issue directly in the eye, because we all need to know the truth about 9/11, no matter how painful the conclusions might be. This is the #1 issue that has completely reshaped the world that we live in today. It is the reasoning for these wars that have already claimed over 1 million lives and continue to rage on to this very moment. This subject affects every one of our lives on an everyday basis. Therefore, we absolutely need to get to the bottom of this subject and understand the truth about it. We need an independent, unbiased public investigation on an international level to break this matter wide open and let the chips fall where they may. September 11th has ultimately become a wound on society that simply will not heal, because it is infected to the very core with lies, cover-ups, disinformation, betrayal, and deceit. Yet here we stand, nearly 10 years later, and that infection just keeps on getting worse by the day. None of us will ever be able to truly put this burden to rest and carry on with our lives until we reopen that wound and dig out the infection once and for all. Now, don't take me wrong here. I'm not claiming that I know exactly what happened on 9/11, who was behind it, or how they did it. I'm not here to feed you any conspiracy theories, personal opinions, or speculation. I don't even intend to give you any answers. I will instead present you with the information that our mainstream media has ultimately failed to bring you, and I will leave it entirely up to you to find your own answers, form your own opinions, and draw your own conclusions, armed with all of the relevant information, and not just the propaganda that has been pre-approved for your viewing by your owners. We have all heard that old saying, the truth is out there, and it is, but it remains scattered about in such a vast way that it's near impossible for anyone to find enough in one dose to actually make sense of it all and see the big picture for what it really is. This is what I propose to change, to bring all those little elements of truth together into one location, so we can see all the pieces of this puzzle at once, and ultimately try to paint a picture of truth that we can all clearly see, understand, and accept. Welcome to Chapter 2 of Beyond the Matrix, and thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching.